this a win for the U.S. in any way, shape, or form?
I thought it was a really smart political move because what it ultimately did would say that, we're still going to be tough because September 1 is going to come around and 10% tariffs on about half of that originally estimated $300 billion in imports. Half of those goods are still going to be subject to a tariff. But the other half, we're going to take a step back. So, China, why don't you come to the table so we can do some things in the near term that we really want to do, which I view as, giving out exemptions on companies trying to export to Huawei and maybe getting China to kind of turn around some of those restrictions on U.S. agricultural imports. Those would be really helpful to the president over the next month or so.
For sure. Although, Dan, if I'm the president yesterday, I saved the yield curve from inverting. I come in, the market's at 500 points. I pulled back. He barely got, a couple of hours of positive response before today just came and wiped that all off. So if you're the president worried about this recession signal and what may be happening, what do you do now?
First, I would say that it's not really trade, I think, that's driving the volatility and fragility in the economy. It's the fact that we've had years and years of easy money policy. There's too much liquidity in the system, and people are just worried that at some point that house of cards collapses. Now, having said that, there's no question that the president's trade policy, I think, has been bad for the economy. And I thought it was interesting that Wilbur Ross basically admitted that, it is consumers who suffer when you have these taxes on international trade. So I desperately hope that somehow we have some sort of deal, and hopefully it's a deal that liberalizes markets, not puts restrictions and cronyism into them.
Right. But I just find it hard to believe that China is going to just say, sure, we're going to liberalize, no problem. I mean, so if the president, going back to the question, is worried about the market's decline, is worried about a recession being around the corner in time for his reelection, I mean, do you expect him to maybe delay all of those 10% tariffs? Are we talking about other kinds of stimulus measures he could pull out of his hat? What should we be thinking about as possibilities?
Well, unfortunately, the easy money policies are already baked into the cake. I hope that Trump doesn't go up to the Capitol Hill and agree to some pork-filled boondoggle infrastructure plan or something like that. It didn't work for Obama. It won't work any better for Trump. So unfortunately, there's no substitute for just good long-run policy. Good long-run policy is good short-run policy. And that means, yes, continue with tax reform, continue with deregulation, stop spending so much money, and back away from all these trade wars, which are, I think, compounding the damage of easy money policy by the Fed.